ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Okay. Can you all hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for the confirmation. So today we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 26. Please repeat after me. Ashwata
Ashwata
Sarva
Sarva
Vrikshanam
Vrikshanam
Devarshinam
Devashinam
Cha
Cha
Narada
Narada
Gandharvanam
Gandharva
Chitrarataha
Chitrarataha
Dhanam
Siddha
Kapilo Munihi
Kapilo
Ashwatta Sarva Vrikshanam
Ashuddha
Sarva
Devarshinam cha Narada
Devarshinam Narada
Gandharvanam Chitrarataha
Gandharvanam
Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi
Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi
Ashwatta Sarva Vrikshanam
Ashuddha Sarva Vrikshanam
Devarshinam cha Narada
Devarshinam Chanarada
Gandharvanam Chitrarataha
Gandharvanam Chitrarataha
Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi
Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi
Ashwatta Sarva Vrikshanam
Ashuddha Sarva Vrikshanam
Devarshinam Chara Narada
Devarshinam
Narada
Gandharvanam Chitrarataha
Gandharvanam Chitrarataha
Thanam Kapilo Munihi.
Tanam
Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi.
Muni
Anyone wants to volunteer to recite the verse?
Ashwasta Sarva Viksanam
Ashwatta Sarva Vrikshanam
Devarsinam Cha Narada
Devarshinam Chanarada
Gandharvanam Cha Chitranath
Gandharvanam Chitrarataha
Siddhartham Kapilo Muni
Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi.
Ashwatha Sarva Vrikshanam
Ashwasta Sarva Vrikshanam
Devarshinam Nachanarada
Devarshinam Chanarada
Gandharvanam Chitraratha
Gandharvanam Chitrarataha
Siddhanam Kapilo Muni.
Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi.
I see Sanjay Gupta Prabhu. Sankarshan Shravan Prabhu, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol Prabhuji.
Can you recite the verse, please?
Sure Prabhuji. Ashwata Sarva Vrakshanam
Ashwatta
Sarva Vrikshanam
Devrishinam Cha Narada
Devarshinam
Narada
Gandharvanam Chitratha
Gandharvanam
Chitraratha
Siddhanam Kapilo Muni.
Siddhanam
Kapilo
Kapilo.
Munihi.
Anyone last one devotee?
I'll try, Prabhuji. I wasn't there when you were doing it, but I'll try. Ashwata Sarva Vrikshanam
Ashwatta
Sarva Vrikshanam
Deva Rishinam Cha Narada
Devarshinam Nachanarada
Gandharvanam Chitraratha
गन्धर्वाणां चित्ररथः
सिद्धानां कपिलो मुनि
सिद्धानां
Kapilo Muni.
Thank you very much for participating in the recitation. It's very important to recite verses. So you all came forward and it gives me more energy to speak. Thank you, Hare Krishna. So let's start with the word-to-word meaning. Please repeat after me. Ashwataha,
Ashwataha.
Ashwatthata,
the banyan tree.
the banyan tree.
banyan tree.
Sarva Vrikshanam,
Sarva-vrikshanam,
of all trees.
Of
of
all
all
the
All
trees.
trees.
Deva Rishinam,
Devarishinam,
of all the sages amongst the demigods.
of
Of
all
all the
the
sages amongst
amongst
the
the demigods.
demigods.
Cha,
Cha
Narada
and
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 Naradaha,
Narada,
Naradaha.
Narada,
Narada
Narada,
Gandharvanam,
Gandharva
Gandharvam,
Gandharvanam.
of the citizens of the Gandharva planet.
of
of
the
the
citizens of the
citizens of the
Gandharva
Gandharva
planet.
planet.
Chitrarataha,
Chitrarada
Chitrarataha,
Chitraratha,
Chitrarada
Chitrarata,
Siddhanam,
Siddha
Siddhanam.
of all those who are perfected.
of
of
all
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 who are
those who are
perfected.
perfected.
Kapilaha Munihi,
Kapila
Kapila Muni,
Kapila Muni.
Kapila Muni.
Kapila Muni.
Kapila Muni.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. History Venkat Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Of all trees, I am the banyan tree, and of the sages amongst the demigods, I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitraratha, and among perfected beings, I am the sage Kapila. Purport. The banyan tree, Aswatha, is one of the highest and most beautiful trees, and people in India often worship it as one of their daily morning rituals. Amongst the demigods, they also worship Narada, who is considered the greatest devotee in the universe. Thus, he is the representation of Krishna as a devotee. The Gandharva planet is filled with entities who sing beautifully, and among them, the best singer is Chitraratha. Amongst the perfect living entities, Kapila, the son of Devahuti, is a representative of Krishna. He is considered an incarnation of Krishna, and his philosophy is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Later on, another Kapila becomes famous, but his philosophy was atheistic. Thus, there is a gulf of difference between them. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapatakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagna Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna dear devotees. Thank you for joining this Bhagavad Gita session. Today is Govinda Dwadashi. We were discussing this morning in Bhagavatam class that today is a very special Dwadashi day. And today is also Madhavendra Puri's disappearance day. So I'm specifying that because today is very auspicious. In fact, matter of fact, the whole week is auspicious for Gaudiya Vaishnavas because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is appearing on Thursday, March 17th. So from a temple, we're celebrating this event in 2 days. March 17th is the real day of the appearance. And also the extended celebration will be on Sunday, March 20th. So in this beautiful auspicious week of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are discussing and thinking and talking and about this Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and Simheshwar Prabhu has beautifully arranged the Sankirtana Yajna last couple of weeks. So all these are auspicious activities, and all these activities can be performed anytime, but performing them specifically during these auspicious days. We can fast on different days, but fasting on Ekadashi has its own prominence, its own importance. It gives the benefits multifold. So this week, which is Gaura Purnima week, so this week is very auspicious. We are very, very close to Gaura Purnima. Another 3 days, we are hitting Gaura Purnima, and you all joined today to listen to this Bhagavad Gita class. So to discuss about this verse, we're discussing from chapter 10. Chapter 10 is the opulence of the absolute, right? Opulence of the absolute. What is Lord Krishna trying to say here? He's saying that on the verse 18, if I'm not wrong, in verse 18, Arjuna asks Krishna to explain his opulences or describe the opulences. Okay, he was curious to know what are the opulences of the Lord. So if we go here, we can check that verse. O Janardana, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you. For the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. So Arjuna has requested, put this request to Krishna, and as a friend, as a well-wisher of the Arjuna, Krishna speaks from 19th verse to the last verse, which is 42nd verse of this chapter. He speaks 24 verses, and out in the 24 verses, he describes 82 opulences. So there are many opulences of Krishna, and Lord is giving patiently one after another. Like some verses will have 4 opulences, some verses will have 3 opulences, and he's giving one after another verses. 24 verses continuously he gives, and there are 82 opulences are there. And as our other devotee friends have already shared and discussed during the previous classes, they have already covered a few verses here. And today's verse is text 26. Which is Ashwatta Sarva Vrikshanam Devarshinam Chanarada Gandharvanam Chitrarata Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi. So Lord is explaining the 4 opulences in this verse. But before we go into these 4 opulences, I want to mention one thing, that why some people or some devotees or among us, someone may have a question why Krishna is describing about his own opulence. What is the importance of having this opulence in the primary section of the Bhagavad Gita? What is the need? Right? Krishna has given Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. Yes, we understand, we connect. Right? That has a meaning, that has some purpose. But what is the purpose or what is the need of describing these opulences of Krishna in the primary section of the Bhagavad Gita? Why Arjuna asked, and why Krishna has given these many, like let's say 82 of them. So why? What is the need? Right? Does anyone want to take a guess? What is the need of having an opulence, knowing an opulence of the Lord? Okay, that's okay.
Hare
So,
Krishna, Prabhu. Oh,
yes,
sorry, continue.
No, please tell me. Yeah, go ahead.
So actually, this point is what Prabhuji had asked me to do class on Wednesday. So this is one point which I'm going to be raising, why opulence is. So first point to remember is that Krishna is not showing off. Usually people, when they have a little bit of opulence, they try to show off, and then they try to control people with what they have. But Krishna is actually doing it as as his mercy. He doesn't need to show off to anybody. So it's because of his mercy. And we should understand that, earlier Deen Bandhu Prabhu had talked about mercy and grace. So when he talks about this opulence as mercy, And it is natural for us to get attracted to opulences, 6 different kinds category, but it's actually many more, but broadly classified in these 6 kinds. And the other thing is that when he talks about all these prominent amongst the water bodies and the ocean, immovable and Himalayas, etc., things like that, is so that we'd be able to very easily relate to. And then it comes to that instruction, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So then it becomes a practical way of how the jiva, and that way we become absorbed. And being absorbed in Krishna, then all our anarthas go away, and back to Godhead becomes that much easier.
Very, very, very nice, Prabhuji. You hit the bullseye. That's what you say? Yeah, very nice. You covered and nicely explained it. So, thank you for sharing your input. Yes, as Amritananda Prabhu explained, we are living entities, right? We have a relation. When, let's say, for example, when a mother sees the shoes are very tiny, like, very insignificant, shoes of her child. A loving mother, when she sees the shoes of her child, what does she remember? She remembers her child, isn't it? Let's say if the child has gone to school and the mother is cleaning the house and she found the shoes of her child. Shoes are very insignificant. Still, the moment she sees the shoes of her child, she remembers or she thinks about the child, isn't it? So in the similar way, when a devotee who is a loving devotee of the Lord, whenever he thinks about the Lord or whenever he sees the opulences, let's say, for example, in this verse, we're talking about Ashwatha Sarva Vrikshanam. So when we see the Ashwatha Vriksha, then we think about, this Ashwatha Vriksha is representing the Lord. That is one memory, right? One relatability, or when, as Prabhuji said, we relate to that opulence and we think about the Lord. So like that, Krishna has given you 82 opulences. Whenever we see the moon, we think about Krishna, right? Like that, many Himalayas, Krishna, like Ucheshwara, the next verse, the horse. When we hear about the story, oh yes, Ucheshwara is the representation of Krishna. So we think about Krishna. Narada Muni, we think about Krishna. So in the similar way, if you see this verse, right, 934, Krishna says that Manamana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyashi yuktubhaivam atmanam mat parayanaha. So Krishna says that engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee. The first condition he's telling is that he ends the previous chapter, 9th chapter, with this verse, Manmana bhava madbhakto, Manmana bhava. So think about me. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Then he realized, okay, how can a devotee think about me if he doesn't know about me? Right? So that's where the 10th chapter comes in, and he gives 82 opulences. He says that, okay, think about me in this way, or this way. Got it? So this is that's why Krishna is giving us an opportunity to think about him. He has instructed in 934, engage your mind always in thinking of me, and he's giving how to think about him by giving the opulences in the 10th chapter, which is all this from verse 18 to verse 42, especially verse 19 to verse 42. So what all we have covered so far? We have covered so many here. Let's say, I am the super soul. It starts with super soul. I'm the super soul, Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. Right? We all believe that, and we all know that super soul is Krishna himself. And I'm beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. Okay, of all Adityas, I'm Vishnu. Of lights, I'm radiant sun. So whenever we remember, we see the sun, we remember Krishna, because it's a representation of sun. Sun is a representation of Krishna, and of Marutsa, Marichi, 82 of them, right? So whenever we see Indra, sometimes he starts blaspheming him. Yes, the activities of Indra are inconceivable sometimes, but we should not blaspheme, right? Because he represents Krishna. And of the demigods, I'm Indra, the king of heaven, right? The mind of Rudra's Lord Shiva. So whenever Lord Shiva is none other than Lord Krishna himself, right? And Yakshas and Rakshasas, I'm the Lord of Wealth, Kuvera, and Vasus, I am fire. So he gave so many. Brihaspati is the king of the, is the rishi or the guru of the demigods. So Brihaspati is the chief of the demigods, or the chief of or guru of the demigods. He represents Krishna himself. Of general some Kartikeya, and bodies of water from the ocean. So whenever we see ocean, whenever we go for fun, or whenever we go for playing in the ocean, we remember this. I mean, at least we should pay obeisances once to the ocean, with respects, and enter the water, because it's Krishna. Krishna himself is representing ocean. So we should enter before we, we should pray before we enter into the, or just a prayer, small little prayer in the mind, and enter the water, ocean water. Of the great sages, I am Brigu. So Brigu Maharshi he's saying that Brigu is like Brigu represents me. Of vibrations, the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices, I'm chanting of the holy names Japa. This is the week of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Japa has a more prominence, like as we have seen this morning. Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam, Sango Pangas Parshadam, Yagner Sankirtana Prayer. So he brought that Sankirtana, he gave that Sankirtana prominence, or he put that forward to the Kali Yuga and said that this is the only yagna, or the sacrifice, which is allowed, or which will deliver the souls from the Kali Yuga to the to back home, back to Godhead. So that Krishna is saying, I am the chanting of the holy names Japa, and the immovable things, I am Himalayas. Some texts say that Mount Meru is very tall, and that even that Mount Meru can be moved, but Himalayas cannot be moved. That's why Krishna is saying here, immovable things, his Himalayas. Now today's verse is, of all trees, I am banyan tree, and of all sages amongst the demigods, I am Narada. Of Gandharvas, I'm Chitraratha, and among the perfected beings, I'm sage Kapila. Okay, so let's look at it. Ashwatha Sarva Vrikshanam. So of all the trees always plays a very important role in the life of a human. Especially trees, big trees like Ashwatha. Ashwatha is called as Vata. And also Ashwatha is called as Bargat in North India. So if you connect to those words, there is another tree called as people. People are Bodhi. So people or Bodhi is completely different, not completely different. They belong to the same family of trees according to science. They belong to the fig family, but these two are different trees. Okay, so just remember that people and Bargat are different. So Aswatha, when Krishna is saying that Ashwatha is basically a Bargat or Vatavriksha. So Ashwatha Sarva Vrikshanam. So Krishna represents Ashwatha or the Vata tree, and the importance of that Ashwatha tree is very. We are all from India, so we all know how important this Ashwatha tree plays a role in a Hindu life. Basically, what they do is, what we do is we pray to Ashwatha tree on a daily basis. Srila Prabhupada quotes it in the purport also, right? So daily morning rituals. So worship, India often, it is one of the daily morning rituals to pray to Ashwatha tree, and that is the importance Ashwatha tree carries, because Ashwatha trees are very medicinal, first thing, and they are very auspicious. They say that there was a story related to Ashwatha tree where Sati Savitri, Mother Savitri, she was trying to protect her husband's life. And at the time of leaving his body, her husband was under the Ashwatha tree. And somehow, because of the potency of the Ashwatha tree also, she's chaste, that is one thing for sure. But because the husband is also under the Ashwatha tree, she could able to get her husband's life back from Yamraj. So that is one story which gives prominence. And Vatapatra Sai, Krishna is also called as Vatapatra Sai. During the end of Brahma's day, I forgot the name of the Muni who explained the form of the Lord. the Lord was what was seen as a Vatapatra Sai. He was lying on the Vatapatra, or the leaf of the banyan tree. The depiction is, the Muni explains or describes, I think if I'm not wrong, it's Markandeya Muni. He describes that, yes, Markandeya Muni he gets a boon that he will not, even though the Brahma's day ends, he still survives. He survives for 2 days of Brahma. 2 days of Brahma is like 2000 kalpas. 2000 kalpas times 4 is 8000 yugas. So Markandeya Muni is living 2 days of Brahma. He can live 2 days of Brahma. So at that point, he was blessed and booned to watch the Lord during the night of Brahma. When the evening ends, Brahma's evening goes away, passes, then the whole creation will go down. Only the 3 lokas on the top will stay, right? But Markandeya Muni, he was there to witness or see the Lord. He was given a boon to be there. So then he saw the Lord, a small baby form, right, with lotus feet, with his lotus feet in the mouth, and that baby form of the Lord was he was lying on the banyan leaf, Vatapatra. So Vatapatra Sai is Krishna. So Krishna, he saw Markandeya Muni, he described the beauty of that baby. Markandeya Muni explained the beauty of that baby with his lotus feet on the in the mouth, and he was lying on the banyan leaf. Okay, so that is those are the few things we want to discuss about banyan tree. 1 second, please. Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah. So that was so Krishna says that Ashwatha Sarva Krishna Vrikshanam. Among the trees, Krishna is Ashwatha. The second point he mentions is Devarshinam cha Narada. So Narada Muni is a Devarshi. So let's first understand what is Devarshi. Devarshi is a Rishi. We all know Rishis, right? Or is a saint or a sage who guides or instructs Devatas or the demigods. So if Durvasa is also Devarshi, in the same way, Narada is also Devarshi. So Devarshis, the role of them is they guide or they try to instruct the demigods on certain ways. For example, if you see, when Hiranyakashipu was in the forest meditating to get the boons from Brahmaji, Kayadu was alone. When Kayadu was alone, Indra went and captured her, and he didn't kill her. Indra didn't kill her, but he brought her. He was trying to bring her back to his Swargaloka. Then Narada came in between and he stopped him. He said that the baby in the womb of Kayadu is a devotee, so leave him. So that way, Indra didn't even ask a question. When Narada Muni said, "Oh, I don't believe you. No, this may be someone else." But Hiranyakashipu is so bad, and his son may be much bad, like worse than what Hiranyakashipu is. So I want to kill. He didn't say that. When Narada Muni instructed him, there is a devotee, and the child in the womb of Kayadu is a devotee. So he left. He didn't say anything. He said sorry, or he felt apologetic for what the activities has performed, because taking other's wife or taking her is not a good idea. It's not a very good thing to do. So that's why he was apologetic for it, and he left right there. So that way, these Devarshis, they have a big role. They guide and instruct the demigods. So, and demigods also know about it. They know about it, and they respect that fact that Narada Muni is a Devarshi. Now, so Narada, so when Krishna says that among the Devarshis, Narada, so what does he mean by that? What is the importance of Narada in this context? So if we see, there are many pastimes where Narada Muni helps Krishna's pastimes to be successful. Right? For example, if you remember, there was this pastime. It's Krishna wants to test who is their best devotee. Right? Is that the queens of Dwaraka? See, there is no offense. I mean, for us, queens of Dwaraka are also respectful, but at the same time, he wants to test who are the best. Are they the queens of Dwaraka or the gopis of Vrindavan? So what happened? Narada Muni become a mediator now. So that's how whenever Krishna has some plan in his mind, Narada Muni comes in. So what he does, he takes a message to the queens of Dwaraka, telling them, Krishna is having a jwara, high fever. So the only medicine that can cure this high fever of Krishna is your feet, dust of your lotus feet or dust of your feet. Then they're in a gnana mode. So they said that if we give the dust of our feet to Krishna, that is sinful. We may be having hellish planets. We may go to the hellish planets. And they rejected that plea of Narada Muni. Similarly, he takes the same message to Vrindavan gopis and tells them Krishna is in same message that Krishna has a high fever. To cure that fever, we need to get the dust of your feet. Then gopis were all jumping, and they're concerned that Krishna is very sick and he's going through the pain. Then some gopis, they said that don't worry, how much ever, I don't worry about like what will happen to me in the future, but Krishna is in pain, so please take as much as you want. Now if you want me to give full pot of dust, I'll just jump into the Raja of Dhuli of Raja and I can give it to you. So that is the amount of love gopis has to Krishna. That is not the point we're discussing, but what the point we're discussing is whenever Krishna wants to perform some activities, some kind of pastimes, Narada Muni is always there. Narada Muni is the one who he counts on. For example, there are many devotees, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, they are the stalwart devotees of the Lord. So who has guided them? Nothing other than Narada Muni. Whenever a devotee seeks a real or genuine interest in the Lord, then Narada Muni appears and he gives the instruction on how to perform the that yoga, bhakti yoga. So Dhruva Maharaj was not even he was not even looking for bhakti yoga. He was looking for material benefit. He wanted to have a kingdom better than his great grandfather Brahmaji. So that was his thoughts when he was marching towards the forest. Then Narada Muni came, and with his aura, with his words, he has gave the mantra to Dhruva Maharaj. And Dhruva Maharaj, that mantra is so powerful that all the material desires, all the material consciousness has disappeared, and that mantra brought Vishnu to him. So that is very, very important. So that is a role, that is a kind of role Narada Muni performs, right? So one example, anyone wants to give one example of Narada Muni where he has helped a devotee or helped in the pastimes of the Lord, participated in the pastimes of the Lord? Let's see.
Prabhuji Valmiki, for and similarly, okay, I'll leave others. No problem.
Very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you. So Valmiki. So Valmiki is we discussed this multiple times in previous classes also. Valmiki is a hunter. He Ratnakara, his name was Ratnakara, and he was not able to chant the name of Ram also. But Narada Muni gave his special mercy upon Valmiki, and such a hunter, such a merciless hunter, he was turned, Narada Muni turned him into such a beautiful devotee who later went on and wrote the whole Ramayana, the history and lifetime of Sri Ramji. So that is the potency, that is the mercy Narada Muni carries. So thank you, Prabhuji, for that example. And any other example?
Hari Krishna Prabhuji, Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes, Prahlad Maharaj, we discussed. Yes, Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is a. It's very. If you remember, after taking Kayadu from Indra, Narada Muni took care of her in his kutir, whatever you call it, like in his place, very nicely, and he used to tell the stories of, like, that is association. That is the benefit of association. You listen or you don't listen, but someone is getting benefited with the association. So with the association of Narad Muni for 1 year after that, for many years after that, Prahlad Maharaj was getting all the benefits. He was absorbing all the stories, all the nectar of katha from Narada Muni, and he became very staunch devotee of the Lord. So that is the difference. That kind of difference Narada Muni can implement or impart towards the devotees, and he also participates in many activities, many pastimes of the Lord also. So whenever Krishna or the Lord wants to have help a devotee, he sends Narada Muni, because Narada Muni plays the opt role. He knows what is the requirement for that particular instance. He knows it very well, and he gives accordingly. See, if you go to the doctor, if the doctor is very expert, right, he will give you the exact amount of medicine you want, the exact potency of the medicine that is required for that kind of a disease we have. Similarly, see, if you give more, it will be too much. If you give less, it will not work. Okay, so that is not the right proposition. So a devotee, expert devotee, or expert associate of the Lord, Narada Muni, knows exactly how much to give and what to give. He did not say, when Dhruva Maharaj's case, he did not say, no, go back. Why you come here? He instructed in the beginning, but he knew. Now he wanted to test like how much Dhruva Maharaj wants to get it, and he knew that, and he instructed in only mantra. He didn't say that forget about your desires, it's not going to happen. He didn't discourage him. He gave just mantra, and he knew that that mantra is good enough to change his mind, to change or to acquire whatever he wants. He didn't really want to change him, but he knew the potency or the medicine what the Dhruva wanted at that point of time, right? So that is the expertise Narada Muni has, and that Narada Muni, who is a Devarshi, who gives the instructions to the demigods, represents Krishna. That is the second point what Krishna is saying here. Gandharvanam Chitrarataha. Gandharvas are the people, Srila Prabhupada mentions the purport, they are good singers, right? We sing, and they have all the Gandharvas. There is loka called as Gandharva Loka, and in there they live, and they have they sing melodiously. Whenever Krishna performs activities, let's say for example, whenever Krishna kills a demon, right? We see that the Gandharvas from the top, they shower the flowers, and also they sing melodiously. They beat the drums and they sing melodiously for the pleasure of the Lord. So that's the quality of a Gandharva. Among those Gandharvas, Chitraratha is such a Gandharva. He has the most beautiful voice among the Gandharvas. Gandharvas by themselves are very beautiful. They sing very beautifully. And among those Gandharvas, Chitraratha is the best. And that Chitraratha, anything that is best represents Krishna in this world, more or less. Yeah. So Chitraratha is a representation of Krishna here. Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi. Siddhanam are the perfected beings, are the perfect. What is a perfected being means? Siddhanam, the one who has achieved what he has to achieve in this material world. That means they have conquered all these material three things, right? Mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. They are above these three modes. That's transcendental mode. They're in the transcendental mode, and that perfected being, among those perfected beings who have conquered all the three material conquered all the three material modes, and they're above that material modes, which are in the transcendental mode, are called as perfected beings, Siddhanam. They're called as Siddhas, are the ones who have achieved everything they're supposed to achieve. Siddha, they siddhi prapt ho gayi bolte na. So it's like they have achieved whatever they wanted to achieve, and that among them, Kapila Muni is the Krishna is saying that he is Kapila Muni represents Krishna. So who is Kapila Muni? We in the morning Bhagavatam sessions we're reading through Canto 3. Within few, Canto 3, chapter 13 is the one which we are going through. We are going through the beautiful pastimes of Lord Varaha at this point. Chapter 23, if I'm not wrong, starts the story of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. Okay, Kardama Muni is a very great ascetic, right? And he marries Devahuti, and from them Kapila, like Lord appears. If someone gets a Lord as their child, they must be very pure, they must be very auspicious, they must be very very great devotees, right? Similarly, this Kardamamuni and Devahuti, they are great devotees, and from them Lord appeared as Kapila. Kapila, a small boy. Kardamamuni and Devahuti will have 9 children, 9 girls, and it's not like they were born and they are babies and they're all trying to make sure that they're changing the diapers. No, not like that. When they were born, within seconds they grew up big. They become 18-year-old. So that is the condition. Like we'll read about it from chapter 23 in Canto 3. So all these 9 girls, they become, and they'll get married also. Then last request, Devati requests Kardamamuni to give a male child. So that was the male child where Lord appeared as Kapila. So Kapila Muni or Kapila Dev, he is basically he preaches or talks. There are multiple chapters at like a few chapters at the end of this presentation, or at the end of this this section of Kardamamuni and Devahuti in Canto 3, where Kapila Muni is explaining the Sankhya Yoga, right? Sankhya Yoga, philosophical conclusions to Mother Devahuti, and with that also he includes the Bhakti Yoga. He describes multiple chapters there. There is a conversation between mother and son, right? How then in that conclusions we'll get to know a lot of detail about philosophical conclusions, including Bhakti Yoga. So that is the Kapila Muni, and that Kapila Muni represents Krishna himself. So that is what Krishna is saying here. Yeah, so today we talked about opulences of the Lord, chapter 10, text 26. In the text 26, the 4 opulences, or Krishna represents 4 of these material things, 4 of these things in this world. So what are they? He says that of Sarva Vrikshanam, among the Vrikshas, he is Ashwatha, or the Vatavriksha, or it is also called as Bargad in North India. So that tree represents Krishna himself. And among the Devarshis, Narada, Krishna represents Narada. And among the Gandharvas, he represents Chitraratha. And also among the Siddhas, or the Siddhanam, the perfected beings, Krishna represents, because it's Krishna himself. We all know that Kapila Muni comes as Krishna, and Krishna comes as Kapila Muni. So that's Kapila Muni represents Krishna himself. So with this, I want to stop this class. Thank you all very much for participating. Hare Krishna. We can open up the channel for discussion if you have any realizations, or if you want to share anything new. Hare Krishna. Okay, so Simheshwar Prabhu, over to you. Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Very cool, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Um,
Yeah, I was thinking I was talking to myself.
Thanks, Prabhu. I think Sineshwar Prabhu must be busy with some seva. Usually he does multitasking. I had a comment, Prabhu, on Shri Narad ji.
Mhm.
Usually it appears that he does, in Hindi, there's a word called chugli. Like this one's iska baat udhar bolne ka, uska baat idhar bolne ka, things
Right.
like that. So much so that when we were kids, if there was someone who would be a troublemaker sort of,
Hmm.
we used to call them Narad Muni, because sabka khabar sabko batate hai. He tells
Correct.
everyone's things to everybody. Well, of course, now coming into Hare Krishna, we realize the significance of Narad Dev. So the pastimes, like all what was described by devotees, even when he goes and tells Kamsa that Krishna and Balram are alive, and then Kamsa orders Akrura to go and fetch them. What he's actually doing is facilitating Shri Krishna's pastime to get rid of the demonic mentality that is there. Kamsa was a very cruel person. So whatever devotees do, and I like what you said, even Indra, we may be bewildered by how can a devotee behave this way towards the Lord, but they're only carrying out the order of Krishna. Krishna wants to engage in fights, so Jay and Vijay,
Right.
which then they become Ravan and Kumbhakarna and things like that. And since they are devotees, they're not ordinary people. They take on a demoniac mentality for the pastime of the Lord. And I don't know if this is, how much of this is in Shastra, maybe you'll be able to help. But they have what they say, Loka Praman, folk tale, legend. My grandma used to say on Ramayana stories that after Ravana was slain, and as he was lying, his Lord Ramchandra told Lakshmanji that he's a very learned man and he'll be able to teach you things. So Lakshman went and sat near his head, but then Lord Ramchandra said, no, he is in the position. Anyone who teaches you something is the position of a guru. You should sit near his feet. So that was the respect. Now, I don't know if this is just folk tale or if there's someone in the Shastra. But the point is that anyone who imparts knowledge, who gives knowledge, is to be respected.
That's nice, Prabhu.
Yep.
Very good points you brought up. Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a good one, Prabhuji. Actually, I have also heard that folk tale. It's not folk tale. I think Raman has multiple versions, and one of the versions that was written, if it was in Valmiki Ramayana, I'm not sure. I read it when we are preparing for Ramayana series of classes, but I don't remember how if it is there or not. But yes, Prabhu, one of the versions will have it, because I have also heard about it and from multiple sources before. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and yes, they are Indra and all others are the devotees of the Lord, so we should respect them. Indra is a very dear devotee of the Lord. Whenever there is a war between demons and demigods, Indra, Vishnu always favors Indra or the demigods, because demigods are the devotees of the Lord. So that's why he favors them, even though he knows that there are many stories, right, where Indra went against the Lord, but still Lord is always favoring Indra. So he has a special position. As a devotee, he has a special position. Sometimes, like some activities which we cannot comprehend, and how a demigod like Indra can perform such things. But still, as you said, those are the leelas, those are the instructions, those are the things which they have to do, sometimes to participate in the pastimes of the Lord. So Yeah, that's true, Prabhuji. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Actually, I want to share one fact. I don't know if it is a fact or not. I was trying to see how the banyan name came for the tree, right? Ashwatha is a banyan tree in English. So I was reading through some 1950s, 1960s dictionaries, and one of the they provide the roots of the words, right? So they explain that there is in India, when Britishers came, they saw this mercantile families in India called as Baniyas, right? These Baniya people, they go under the tree and they perform special pujas in the month of June. So when the Britishers saw that, they they said, okay, this tree must be some special tree, and let's name that tree as Baniya tree, so it became banyan tree, like banyan tree. So that is how the root came. It's just a fun fact. I mean, I was trying to understand how the name came, and it's interesting to understand, like, Britishers, how they named many things with the activities we were performing here. They found baniyas going under the tree and praying, so they called it as banyan tree. I don't know how true is it, but I just wanted to share. I read through and I want to share that. Yeah. Hare Krishna. So Mr. Prabhu is here. Hari Bol.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes. So I was reading also that the many names which were pronounced in Sanskrit, which went to different countries, and it then came back to us in a different pronunciation. It's actually root is from India, root is from the Sanskrit words. So many from the Sri Lanka, from Egypt, Arabian countries, so many. Yes. Thank you so much for such a wonderful class. The devotees, anything else? Any comments? Any other discussions? Yes, I was remembering when you mentioned about the pastimes of Narada Dev, there is a section, Narada Dev's instruction to Chitraketu. It's so wonderful that to read, and it's a transcendental science revealing to the Chitraketu when Chitraketu lost his son, and Chitraketu and Kapatati was so much in lamentation, and they were about to leave their bodies. So Narada Muni came, and it's so wonderful instructions. Yep. So there is no words that there's no words enough to glorify Sri Narada Dev, Narada Maharshi, Narada Devarshi, Narada Muni. Many names he called Narada Muni, Narada Rishi, Devarshi. Yeah. And Srila Prabhupada many times says that wherever there is a devotional, sangha or devotional executions, Narada Dev is also present there. When Sukadev Goswami explained Srimad Bhagavatam to Parishit Maharaj, Narada Dev was there. And even Sukadev Goswami appeared. Narada Dev was also standing up to give respect. So these are great personalities. In all these circumstances, wherever and whenever there is a glories of the Supreme Lord, and Narada Dev is there. And also there is a beautiful pastime of the bhakti and the two sons of Jnana and Vairagya, the Bhakti Devis, two sons. And finally, Narada Dev was involved to give liberation to these two sons of Bhakti Devi. And they became so old, Gyan and Vairagya. And they can't even walk. But their mother is so young, Bhakti Devi. And there is no remedy that for them to become their youthful age. Nardev consulted with everybody. Nardev finally went into Vaikunta just for sake of his devotees, and finally understood what to be done. That's where Srila Narada Dev coming back and instructing them that here Srimad Bhagavatam, you will attain, liberation, you will attain your original youth, original form of Gyan and Avairagya. It's wonderful. There are so many places, so many instructions there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, wonderful. Anybody else? Anything to add? No comments, no questions. Or it's time for dinner?
Prabhu, if I can ask the question to devotees.
Please.
We hear so many of these pastimes in Bhagavatam, so many of these instructions in Bhagavad Gita from Srila Prabhupada, Acharya's explanation, everything. So I'm trying to get an understanding of all devotees who hear all this. What does it mean to you personally? And don't feel shy, just share. So Prabhuji explained how Krishna talks about his opulences and why. Simeshwar Prabhu spoke about Naradi and his significance, all these pastimes. So how do you relate to these things? How does it make a difference or whatever? If you could share that, and open for everyone. I mean, anyone can share it.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. So regarding the relating, some of your answer was beautiful, first of all, and also Hari Kishore Prabhu's class and the answer to this question. So basically, for some things, I'm already relating, like when I look at the ocean and the sun and the moon to Krishna. And the banyan tree, of course, like every time I go to the temple, I think it's near the door, so I touch it. But the other things, like which I'm learning, and again, they will, like I have learned more in this session. Like I know it. It's just like I had forgotten, or like this is reminder. So when I look at them, I would be remembering Krishna when I see them, just like you said, it's constant remembrance. And another thing about Narad Muni, just like you said, Chugli Karte The, that's all I knew about Narad Muni. Even in the movies that we saw, Naradji is like going from one place and all, like spreading, like me, getting people to fight. So I have so much better understanding of, I have become so respectful of him. And also of Lord Brahmaji, because there was only one temple in the entire India of Lord Brahmaji. And I never knew, like learning from Bhagavatam, yes, we've learned, like that he's the creator and Vishnuji is the preserver, and, Lord Shiva is the destroyer, but so much better understanding I have developed, like more understanding of Lord Brahmaji and his position. And so it's not just the creator and the destroyer and the preserver. I have like learned so much more which I didn't know. And that's why, just like I say every time, I'm so addicted to these classes that I just want to learn more and more and more. So that's what I wanted to say, like understanding, knowledge, everything is getting deeper. Yeah, but I, at the same time, relating Lord Indra and his activities to and Krishna being Indra, I'm just, I don't know if I can, I respect him, but I don't know if I can accept it, because some of the, when you listen to some of the things he's done, I don't know how much I can relate to Krishna to him. So maybe, I need more knowledge to be more respectful, I guess. That's what I wanted to share, Prabhuji. Haribo?
Thank you, Shacha Mataji.
Does it make sense? Did I make any sense? Like,
Yeah, Mataji, realize what you feel is this helps all of us. And what you said is same with me also. Earlier, I couldn't respect Indra, Lord Indra. But
was it, I'm not sure, but in the Ramayana, was it Lord Indra and Ahalya ki jo story thi turned into stone? That was Lord Indra, right?
Yes,
Who
Mataji.
went in disguise? It
Yes.
was, right? So when
Yes.
you listen to things like that, how can you like say yeah, he was like relating to Krishna? I wouldn't be able to do it.
With such with
So
such
many other things, this just came to my mind, but so many other stories are not coming to my mind, so many things that he has done, like cheating wise, have heard that, just like I said, they're not coming to my mind. But I cannot see Krishna. We are supposed to see Krishna in everybody, but I won't. Hearing all this, you're disguising as somebody else's husband and going, and my mind doesn't accept it that he's Krishna. I wouldn't. Yeah.
I
I'm
think
sorry,
the way
but that's how
see
I
it-
feel.
Yeah, I think the way I see it, Mataji, I don't know, and maybe other devotees can correct me, is that just as we had these preconceived conceptions about Naradji, like Amritanand Prabhu said, even when we were small, we used to, say, like, we always thought Narad Muni was like a Kandi master, like what we say, like what
Yeah,
Prabhu
just like, because it was picturized in the movies
Correct.
like this, like
Correct.
we didn't even read the scriptures that much, but it was
Right.
picturized in the movies, जब भी कहीं लड़ाई होती थी, it's like, okay, Narad ji करा रहे हैं, like
Haan,
kind of so.
correct.
So that is
So I think
the thing I
as we
grew up with.
realize- So I think two things that I have learned from this are that things are not always things are not
way we
always
look at
the way
them,
they
yeah.
seem to be.
Seem to
right?
be, right.
Right. So, and if that's one thing that I have learned, and not only in the material, but I mean, not only in the spiritual, but even in the material realm. That's the first thing. And the second thing is faith, right?
Mhm.
So if you have faith in Lord Krishna, which we all do, then you know that if he is saying, if he is like forgiving Indra, then Indra is also just
Yeah.
playing a part.
Yeah, that's true. Like every time we hear, like it's all everything is happening because Krishna wanted it to happen, like,
Correct.
so yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So they all are playing a role, and
Like
Krishna,
Jai Vijay, like they're
under
nice
his
people.
direction, under his direction.
Yeah.
So two things
That's
are
it.
there.
Yeah,
One
that's
is,
the
yeah, it's not always as it seems, and have faith
right.
that Krishna is doing it, because if he's telling that there
Because
has
he
to
has
be
a reason to do it. Yeah. True. That's very good explanation, Mataji. Yeah, there is a reason.
Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Mataji, and also, as you said, no, this respect thing, it's very, very important. Personally, how I've reconciled over the years, before Hare Krishna, after Hare Krishna, during Hare Krishna, is, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's simple instruction, but it's so deep. And we can literally use it not only when we are studying Bhagavatam or listening to pastimes of Lord and his devotees, but even in our interpersonal relations. Most important thing which Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, for me at least, is whenever we see faults in somebody, so we should stop over there and then look internally what our faults are. So these become, I see now, whenever this mind troubles that, oh, why is this person behaving this way? Why is, Indra doing that? Or why is this devotee done that, this, that, and all? Then the mind starts adding on and on and on and on. And that's where all the problems start. So at that point in time, stop and just look at it that whatever nonsense, which we think nonsense is happening, is opportunity for us to reflect on ourselves and become more humble, because it takes a lot more strength to act on something rather than just react. Now, outwardly, it may seem something, but we don't know why. So even yesterday's class, what the Prabhu was mentioning, what God is doing in their life, what they're doing. with God in their life. Each one has a special relation. So this Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's, everyone knows the verse Trinad api sunichena. You can say it by heart. In your sleep also, wake up somebody and a devotee will chant this verse. But the implementation for that comes through. And there are so many opportunities, Mataji, when driving somebody honks, how immediately that anger comes. What's this idiot? What is he trying to do?
नहीं आता प्रभु जी, अब गुस्सा नहीं आता अब, that judgmental nature, and it's so changed, like I don't, वो नहीं होता अब, नहीं वो से reaction नहीं होता ना, किसी को fault finding and all, nothing. It doesn't happen anymore. It's just because you listen to these stories, तो वो तुम्हारे दिमाग में embedded हैं, तो you want some clarification, why did he at such exalted position, why would he, just little explanation. But other than that, like abni hai, like that fault finding and all, I honestly try to see the good qualities in people and appreciate them, honestly. And I like that I am at least making the effort to do that. So, but it's just, because they are at exalted position, तो थोड़ा जैसे ब्रह्मा जी का clear हुआ, so now, like it feels good. Like Narad ji ka clear hua, so it feels good, because aapki, your thinking itni kharab thi, like why, like, and that explanation never came till we started reading the scriptures so deeply. So that's a beautiful, beautiful like feeling.
Yeah, one thing I would like to add to that, Amardana Pui's point. Always remember this: we should not disrespect even an ant in this world.
Yes.
Everybody has their own role to play in this world. And second thing, who are we to judge others?
Exactly. Yes, Prabhu.
And it's always remember that we should not, the first thing, we should not find faults, because we should always see the good in everything.
Yes.
Because of the moment we start to find the fault, and that means we are coming to the position of ego, that I am something better than that person.
And the other thing is, Prabhuji, it ruins your own peace of mind. You're not benefiting from it anyways.
Yes.
You start finding faults is ruining your mindset, like what's the point of all this chanting and all? That's what I think. When I even, like sit and talk about somebody bad about any comment, even one comment, then what's my point of chanting for 2 hours or attending all these scriptures? It's a waste of my time.
I would also say the other side of it. Actually, there is a certain situations, that certain activities happening, bad activities happening in the world is called Dharma Sangat. There is no way that even Emiraj can find out that it's whose fault. There is a beautiful story in Lord Ramachandra's pastimes. So what happened when there is a situation where Emiraj can't find it's whose fault? That next thing is actually coming, that karma, those who are finding fault and blaming others, they get that karma. So this was, I'm not explaining, there's a big pastime, big story out there, I'm not going to that, but there's a situation where those who are unnecessarily finding fault, unnecessarily envious, unnecessarily all these anarthas which person has, so naturally it all comes to that person. So it's very important that we should not take any steps or any kind of thoughts that this person is that way, this way, did this one, that, why it is, we are not supposed to do. We are not the person, especially those who are devotees, especially they should know all these facts.
Right. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank
No
you for
problem.
sharing, everybody. Thank you. Hari Bol.
Okay, wonderful. Anything else? Anybody else has to share anything? Wonderful points.
Maybe next few classes we can share, because I think I took up a lot of time and nobody else got a chance to answer Amritanand Prabhu's question. It was a general question for all classes, so maybe somebody
Of
else
course.
can.
So wonderful. So nice, Mataji, sharing. These are all doubts and questions. There is nothing wrong in it. right? So this we can ask the questions like this. That's absolutely fine. But we should not anything like in terms of thoughts and the minds and talking to the other people in terms of that should not be done. But anything in the class, anything in the discussions, anything that we can ask any of all of these questions. So that we are clarifying the doubts. That's perfect. That's absolute. There's nothing wrong in it. So it's always should be like that. If something is there, we should clarify. That's also important fact. Wonderful. Anything else? Anybody?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. A small point, Prabhuji.
Sure.
Like Amritananda Prabhu was asking, like, how do you relate to all those, all the lessons that you learn and everything, all the classes that you attend, and how? So Prabhuji just told, it's a small thing, but I mean, I actually think about it that, like, when we listen to all these chapters and the pastimes, right, in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, what the Lord says, it feels like I mean, like this feels all like imaginary. We cannot even think about it. Like you were saying the other day, it's like we are frog in the well, and we cannot even imagine what is out there. So I mean, just for me to believe that this is all, because this is all written and documented. For me, the way to do it, believe it is, I mean, when I go to India, Prabhuji, when I talk to my maid, right, or someone, and when I tell them, see, in US, now it's daytime here, in US it's nighttime. And when it's night here in US, it's daytime. And they are in awe. Oh my God, Didi, acha, aisa hota hai wahan pe. And what else happens? And then we tell them, and they are in awe, and like they are like, oh, it's like an imaginary world for them. Same way for us over here. When we hear all these pastimes, and we cannot even imagine that this is true. I mean, how can this be true? But I mean, because we know that within this world, there are two parts of this world. They are totally different from each other. Even the time zones are different. Then, so that actually helps me convince that, okay, yeah, this is all true. You just need to believe it. I mean, that's all I want to share, Prabhuji. This is just my way of relating things. That's it, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Wonderful point. You brought up that very perfectly, Mataji. Yes, exactly. Very nice. So we are very limited. We don't know, what is the other side of it. So that's why we are trying to learn from the realize the souls. So that's why always we have two ways of understanding the truth. One is called ascending, and another is called descending. Yes, ascending is called arohana. Arohana means we are trying to experiment ourselves, whether it is true or not, mental speculation, all those things, and scientific research and all, and it takes millions of years even come to a conclusion, and still they won't be able to come to a proper conclusion and the proper truth and the proper knowledge. We cannot, because of we are limited. We are limited in our imperfect senses, illusion, all those defects that we have. We cannot even hear anything which is certain frequency. We cannot see certain things beyond our capacity. We cannot even understand and perceive with our limited brain. We cannot do anything like that. So still we claim that we know everything. So that's stupidity, that's foolishness. So that's it's very important that we understand from avarohan. Avarohan. Avarohan means descending. Descending the reason because of this coming from the right authority, right sources. That means it says that tadviti pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyandiya jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. The tattvadarshina, they have seen the truth. And just for an example, if you take Srimad Bhagavatam, everything, this was 5,000 years ago, even 400 years ago, when Kepler, or the not the Kepler, the what is it, Copernicus, who said that the Earth is a globe. There was it's almost 400 years ago. and everybody killed him because of their understanding was earth was flat, and they didn't have any idea about how the earth is there. So here on the other hand, Srimad Bhagavatam and all our scriptures says that earth is a globe. That's why we were going through in Srimad Bhagavatam the Varaha Dev's appearance. Why Varaha appeared? Because of Varaha's tusk that can hold the globe, the Mother Earth, in a round shape. That's why Varaha appeared in such form. So this was explained thousands of years ago. And how did they find out? And thousands of years ago, that all our astrology and Jyotisha and everything was so perfect. And they found the positions of Dhruva. They found the position that, and the characteristics of Dhruva, that Dhruva is, static. Dhruva doesn't move. How did they find out? And because of they have this Tattvadarshana, they have seen the truth. And there is a way to see the truth. And it goes beyond our material perceptions. There is eyes which people and great people can see that when they come out from the material bondage, they can see everything properly. What is happening on the other world? What is happening beyond this earth? What is happening on the other planet? They were traveling. They can see that, these Srila Prabhupada was mentioning one time that, I could see Narada Dev was dancing when there is a kirtan going on. So why? Because of they have seen, they can see beyond, because of they came out from this material covering. And once they come out of material covering, then they are all completely on the spiritual plane, and they can see how things are happening in this world. And all this, literary incarnations, Srila Vyasadeva, all the sages, great sages, rishis, they travel, and they all travel in the space, and they all can see, and they can see their, that's called Trigala Jnanis. They can see the future, what is happening. They can see everything around. So, but as a human, we don't take it that they say it's all mythology, and we don't come to that. We also, come to that it's all mythology, but it's not mythology, it's absolute truth. And this is the real science of all everything. Yeah. Thank you for such a wonderful realization, and Motherji explaining to them, and that's perfect, absolutely perfect.
Hari Krishna Prabhu, Dhamma Pranam.
Thank
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the class, and Amritanand Prabhu for asking that question. So I heard everybody's reply, and one small thing came in my mind is like how we know our own father's glory and about his qualities. So generally, either mother or your uncle or aunts or in family, you know how people describe each other's characteristics. So I felt like we have so many energies of the Lord, like Lord Narad, Vyasadeva, Prabhupada. We have so many extensions and energies of Lord who are glorifying Lord and explaining the opulence of the Supreme. So similarly, all these opulences that we are learning, and Krishna himself is, telling us either directly or indirectly his own energies, his presence, his greatness, his existence in our life, so much so that when we remember Krishna, that is also mercy. Krishna is choosing to be in our memory and thoughts. So when we think of Krishna, he's appearing in our thoughts. In this way, we have to learn to see Krishna in every aspect of our life. So everywhere you see around yourself, you are just surrounded. There's no nook and corner in your place or in your existence that he's not there.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have a meeting at 8:30. Hari Kishore Prabhu, thank you for a wonderful class. Dear devotees, thank you so much for joining today. So let's conclude. Patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo.
Vishnu Vrinda ki
Vrinda ki jai.
श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। श्रील
Jai.
जय।
Jai.
Jai Prabhu. Hari Hari.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful
Thank you, Hari
discussion.
Kishore
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Hari Krishna. Thank you, Hari Krishna.
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hari
Thank
Bol.
you, everyone.
हरि बोल। Very thank you, Madhuri Proji.
Where
You
did
also have,
Hari Kishore Prabhu go? We need him.
yeah, me call it. Join. Hari Bol Proji. Proji, please join the meeting. So let's. Okay. Thank you.